And how's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest and the greatest gaming news. Today I wanted to take a break from the investigations and speculation by doing something the community has been asking me to do for quite a while now, and that is breaking down 5 things that I personally believe Starfield would need in order for the game to be successful. Now, there are thousands upon thousands of Starfield opinions and ideas out there, and I'll just be listing only 5 of my ideas today. And in the future I plan on having videos like this, where instead of listing my ideas, I'll share ideas that you all have as well. So be sure to let me know what you'd like to see in Starfield down in the comments below for a chance at having your comment get featured in a future Starfield community wishlist video. Now, I'll probably do more videos like this, as I can definitely come up with more than 5 things that I think would be awesome for Starfield, but for the sake of not making the video too long, and to leave the opportunity open for community suggestions and ideas as well, I'll be focusing on 5 ideas per video. And remember, these are things that I believe Starfield would need in order to be successful, so I'm going to list gameplay elements as well as other relative situations. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get this list started. 1. Actual marketing. We're going to start the video with one of those non-gameplay element things, and to be honest, this first one is something Bethesda Game Studios has already kind of failed at, but it's not too late to change things around Bethesda, if you're even paying attention, that is. So as you all know, we got our first teaser trailer for Starfield way back in 2018, during ancient times, shortly after the death of Julius Caesar and the discovery of drinkable water, and ever since 2018, Bethesda has been as silent as a Fallout 3 protagonist about Starfield, which in my opinion is a huge missed opportunity for Bethesda to at least maintain a minimal, but at least still existent dialogue of presence with the community regarding Starfield. I'm not saying Bethesda should have went the route of CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077, for example, but if Bethesda Game Studios would have at least given us one small teaser trailer per year following the 2018 reveal, I firmly believe Bethesda would be in better standing with the community regarding Starfield, because as of right now, given all the silence, some people are wondering if Starfield could even be having massive development issues, and I don't think that is something you want people to even begin to think could be happening, Bethesda. So in my opinion, whenever Starfield does finally release, I really do believe if Bethesda would have been marketing the game even a little bit more over the last couple of years, that the game would indeed have had an added positive hype bonus upon whatever reception it may actually get at launch. Of course, as I said, it's not too late for Bethesda to fix this. They can start talking about the game more now, like right now. Even if it's not going to come out until 2022, at least give us another small teaser trailer. I don't think a single member in the community would disagree with me on this point. 2. For player choices that have impact. This is something that in my opinion has been severely lacking in Bethesda games. Sure, you can choose sides in certain main storylines, but even those choices within themselves don't seem to have enough impact upon the game world. The last decision I remember making in a Bethesda Game Studios game that seemed to affect the game world in any meaningful, heavy way was way back in Fallout 3, when you could choose whether or not to blow up Megaton. I want to see Bethesda take note from BioWare here, for example. Despite the recent downfall of BioWare thanks to the soul-sucking lich that is Electronic Arts, if you take a look at BioWare's older games, for example, let's say the Mass Effect trilogy or the Dragon Age franchise, you can see how the smallest decisions within these games always had some sort of an effect upon the game world, providing a unique gameplay experience tailored especially for the person playing the game. BioWare even went a step further and allowed those decisions to affect the main story in future game releases, as decisions made way back in the first Mass Effect or Dragon Age game affected the game world and story of even the latest Dragon Age and Mass Effect games. Now, I'm not saying I want Bethesda to do the multiple game storyline dynamic, but if they simply allowed for player choices to impact the game world in more numerous and varied ways, I'd feel like not only would their games be more immersive, but it would level up Bethesda Game Studios games up to that next level of world building, a skill which they are decent at already. 3. Multiple playable alien races. This one is something not everyone in the community can agree on, but I feel if Starfield emulated the Elder Scrolls a bit by having multiple available playable races, each with their own racial attributes, culture, architecture, and deep, well-written lore, then I feel that would be the spark required to make Starfield stand out apart from all the other space games being developed right now. This could make Starfield look like something truly special. Basically, just try to imagine an Elder Scrolls game, but set in the future. That is the level of hype that we could get if Starfield had different playable alien races. Although whether or not there will be playable alien races all depends on the setting and main storyline of Starfield, which we literally don't know anything about right now. The first Starfield game could very well likely only allow you to play as a human for the sole purpose of immersion, as you might be the first person to go off and explore faraway planets or wherever we end up going in Starfield, and it could be set up that way so that in the first Starfield game, you discover the new alien races, seeing them for the first time as a human, setting the stage so that you can then play as those same alien races in the second Starfield game. As plausible as I could see the situation being, I still think that having multiple playable alien races in Starfield would be that little bit of magic that the game universe would need in order to make it pop. The game could still be amazing if this wasn't the case though, if Bethesda did it right, of course. 4. Deep, well-written lore. One thing Bethesda Game Studios succeeds in the most is their world building. The lore of their game universe is included. The lore of the Elder Scrolls franchise alone rivals that of Greek mythology in terms of depth, and once you think you know everything there is to know about the games and their lore, you always find there's something else to discover or learn about. And while Bethesda didn't originally create the world of Fallout, when they purchased the rights to the IP from Interplay, they injected their master-level world building into the game as well. And while Bethesda Game Studios can't get everything right all the time, the game worlds for the most part on their own always are fairly decent for the most part. I hope Starfield will be no exception to this, and that the lore for Starfield and its universe are just as unique, well written, and deep as the Elder Scrolls. I am a bit worried though, as this is the first new game universe Bethesda Game Studios has created in like 20 years, so they'd basically have to create the entire Starfield universe and lore from the ground up without having done that for a new project in a very long time. I still have faith that Bethesda will do a great job regarding Starfield's world building and lore though, but at the same time, Starfield stands as a true ultimate test to see if Bethesda can successfully make an amazing entire new game universe from scratch. 5. No Endless No Man's Sky Procedural Generation. If you played No Man's Sky, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Well, the game is actually decent now, and the worlds you discover in No Man's Sky aren't inherently bad. You can just totally tell and feel that the worlds were built by basically an AI. They have just about as much soul and identity as you'd expect from a line of code, and while Bethesda Game Studios has used procedural generation in the past, they don't create entire worlds using that technology. They'll use procedural generation for radiant quest design or plant coverage or small things like that, but their worlds are almost always 100% handcrafted, apart from like reused assets like furniture or candles and stuff like that, and in Oblivion's case, some reused dungeon layouts. But even then, the worlds themselves still felt believable, and not as if they were randomly thrown together by an algorithm. And as awesome as it may seem if Starfield did indeed have an endless amount of planets to discover like No Man's Sky, this would go against the grain of the very thing that makes Bethesda Game Studios RPG games special and stand out from the competition, which is their handcrafted game worlds. Even when Fallout 76 first launched and it had the most negativity it received during the game's lifetime, even most of the haters still always at least said that the game world wasn't really a problem, except for the lack of NPCs at that time, of course. Personally, I'd like for Starfield to have no more than a dozen or so handcrafted worlds, space stations, or so on. Obviously, I'm not expecting there to be like entire gigantic planets to explore similar to No Man's Sky or Elite Dangerous, but maybe something more like the Outer Worlds, only with much more larger explorable zones. However, to be honest, it could very well be possible that we just get one gigantic map on one alien world. Just one planet, but full of various different biomes and regions. Possibly we can even fly to a couple of the planet's moons, as well as the surrounding space near the planet. Who knows though, to be honest, as long as whatever we get feels handcrafted and not randomly generated by an AI or an algorithm, then I am totally down and happy. Now that finishes up today's video though. I hope you like the new style of content like this that I will occasionally drop here in the channel. As always, let me know what you'd like to see in Starfield down in the comments below, and if your comment wins the internet, you may get featured in a future video. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed the content, and if you want to stay in the know when it comes to the latest gaming news, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss the latest uploads. Follow me over on Twitter for other news that doesn't quite make it into my videos, as well as other channel updates, and check the links down in the description below for official Skullzi merchandise, the Skullzi Discord community server, and if you want to have your hand in providing future content, there are links on how to be an exclusive channel member here on YouTube or over on Patreon as well. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when Starfield is just Kerbal Space Program 2, Todd and Elon Friendship Edition. Now that finishes up.